Peace. We are live, everybody. Welcome back to the Diaspora Channel. I'm Kai Kabiam, and if it's your first time here, you are very welcome. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I go live. And tonight, I have a very, very interesting discussion. You know, like I love saying it, this is going to be a family discussion. So, you know, we need all your contributions. We are here to learn and to do better. So, bonsoir tout le monde. J'espère que votre week-end se passe bien. Et si c'est votre première fois sur ma chaîne, je m'appelle Kai Gabiam. Et ce soir, on va parler en fait du taux alarmant de divorce dans la communauté noire, spécifiquement ce soir africaine. So, je vais donner l'opportunité à notre frère de s'introduire et puis on va commencer. Donc, liker ce live, partager aussi. So, welcome, dear special guest. How are you doing?
I am fine, thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me. I am Pharaoh Chiel. I am from Cameroon. Originally, I live in Birmingham in United Kingdom. Again, thanks very much for inviting me. Moi, je suis Pharaoh Chiel, depuis le Cameroun, mais j'habite à Birmingham en Angleterre. Merci beaucoup.
Ça, c'est bien. Comme ça va beaucoup m'aider vers la fin. Tu peux tout résumer en français. Voilà. So, Pharaoh, this topic is a very, very delicate, sensitive topic, but we really need to address these issues because, like I said at the beginning of this live stream, what is happening within the Black community, and I would say specifically, you know, the African communities out here is so disturbing. The rate of divorces is so alarming. So we really need to sit down and start having these honest discussions to find what are we doing wrong and what we can do better, because obviously I come from a two-parent household, and you know, without the discussion, I know you also come from that same background. So to me, it's something that you know, it's hard for me to see what is happening in our community here. So that's why we need to talk about these things. So first, please tell us what you personally think are the reasons behind this alarming rate of divorces within our community.
Okay. Within the Black communities in England, and the other stretches in the diaspora, I've happened to be into many of these communities, and then I've seen how our people live there in the other stretches of Europe and the Americas.
Right.
One thing was very intriguing. The divorce rate, our divorce rate is too high, and then the rate of what they call in this country single parentage is higher within us, is higher in the Black community than any other community. And yes, I was worried about it. It was alarming, as let me use your words. And I decided to conduct a small investigation about that. Because if we're talking about Black power, then we should be talking about the unit, which is a family, a man, a woman, and the children. That's your first, that should be the first strength. That should be the first source of your energy and your power. Okay, now, then I looked, the Asian community, they are a tight unit, a tight net. They're very strong together. They're very, very strong. So I was wondering, just like you. It was like, how come we the master race, if we want to call us, within the black communities, and then we got the high divorce rate, high separation rate, high single parentage rate. No doubt they like to throw us in prisons. We do drugs. There is the gang culture. There is the gun culture, the streets and homelessness. And it came down to one very, very simple rule. Very, very simple. I believe that's the only way to eat. I know people might have alternatives, okay, but Asians don't divorce. Not because they don't have problems. They quarrel with their partners. They fight. They fight. I mean, domestic violence has got no race. There is domestic violence. There are insults. There is moneylessness. There's poverty, which can wreck a family. There is irresponsibility. All these things, just they are natural human happenings. They are natural human happenings. But now, your culture is the unit. Your culture is the beacon that should guide you going and what you're doing. And then Asians, they've been able to incorporate their culture into the Western society so profoundly, it saved them. An Indian girl born in this country, or a Pakistani born in this country, they still put on their hijab. They still put on their hijab. They still wear their Asian attires. Obviously, they speak like the average or normal white person born here. They've got the accent. They've got the British culture as well. But you will never take that Asian culture away from them. A Chinese person born here speaks Mandarin fluent, just like someone born in Hong Kong or someone born in Shanghai. You know? Or then first and foremost, we Africans, my kids don't speak Pidgin. My kids don't, they cannot even speak French. So they only speak English. So you see, that's we call it identity theft, or that's that identity lost. There is that gap where you're missing. So your culture should carry your language, your food, your clothing, and the way you carry yourself. So sometimes women, they will show up at my house and they say, oh, Pharaoh, I had a problem with him. Or a man will show up here and say, I had a problem with my missus. I'll have to sleep at yours for the time being. And then they will explain, and then I just look onto them and then I ask them a question, a very simple question. Culture say, how is this handled in your culture? So is where the solution, your culture gives you the clue. Asians don't separate. Latinos don't really, they don't have a high separation rate. So we're not the only immigrants into Britain. The Latinos, they're here, the Asians are here, the Chinese they're here, the Indians are here, and then people come from over, and then they are closely packed. They live as a unit, as a team, and then they operate, and then the Western culture do not suppress them. So, but we, the Black people, we've allowed the Western culture to suppress our culture, and we do unspeakable things to our partners, things we would not do in our own mainstream societies. When I talk of mainstream societies, I mean our mainstream communities back in Africa, where it is classed as a taboo, where it is classed as a sacrilege, where you do, let's say, very common in Britain for a woman to put the man out of the house, phone the police, then the police come, and then she's throwing the man, she's not even packing them, she's just throwing the man's clothes and mattresses and shirts and everything outside, and the police, they're just standing there to supervise what they term breach of the peace. So they're just here for that, for you to live peacefully. So, and then, which is very normal according to this society. But now, what happens to your family? That family is destroyed. That unit is not there. What happens to the man? The man is the head of the family. And then again, unfortunately, a man is the head of the family in every culture. Amazingly, a man head of the family in every culture. I happen to discover that. And then they say, okay, but Pharaoh, you can't really say things like this because in Finland and some parts of India, women get married to men. True. A woman a woman can get married to, in some cultures in India, the women get married to men. In Finland, a woman can get married to a man. So the woman will do all the rites, the tradition according to that society or that class, and then get married, get a husband. Fine.
Right.
But when it comes to the head of the house, it's the man. Amazingly. So in this country is matrilineal. So it's ruled by a queen. Women's right in this country is vast, it's so amassed, it's so powerful. True. But when it comes to that simple role, the head of the house, it's a man. It's a man. So these are, I don't think, some people say it's man-made. I don't really think it's man-made. For it to just flourish within all the cultures, the man-made cultures or the man-made events or the man-made trends are the ones that are very dissimilar in certain cultures. Like, let's say in one village they eat lizards, in another tribe they don't eat lizards. So we can say that is man-made. So they've chosen the lizard as their staple food, and another culture that is man-made. But a situation where you've got this vast majority of cultures, imagine all over the world, they're saying we're 7.4 billion. And you've got 6.4 billion people. So imagine the cultures contained within this vast population. And the head of the house is a man. I think that should be some kind of divine program. I think that's some form of divine ordination. Anyway, back to it. So we see all that. We dropped our culture as soon as we crossed the Atlantic, the Pacific, or the Red Sea. I think these are the stretches of water you cross to get to the diaspora. So we dump them in the oceans and in the seas and in the lakes and rivers. And then we come here, we pick a culture that's not ours. Someone leaves Cameroon, goes to America, stays there for a year, comes back home, he's speaking, he or she is talking, no one can hear. And then, but if they can come with an American friend, someone born in the United States, that person that was born in the United States, first time ever for that person to come to Cameroon. So the person told me, I understand, but my brother that's lived in America for 12 months is talking, and then I find it hard to understand. I'll be like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I mean, it's just that trend. So we copy. Black people, they are notorious for copying bad things. And they want all these things. And I say to them sometimes, look, the relationship you're looking for, it only exists in movies. That can only exist in Hollywood or in Nollywood. That's a relationship between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. It only exists in the screens, in the movies. In the real life, know your place. Know your place. Know where you come from. Let your culture again be that beacon. Let it guide you. Let it be of that guide. Let it be of paramount importance. Do not compromise your culture for someone else's. It's a Western culture, it's a white culture for a woman to kick a man out of the house. It's a Western culture, it's a white culture for a woman to call the police on the husband. It's a Western culture for a woman to lie to the police that she's been beaten. It's a Western culture because they know exactly what the police will do. It's a Western culture for a woman to prevent the husband or the man from seeing the children. Another thing, I'm not saying I don't condone divorce. Of course, sometimes you can reach a certain stage where that relationship is irreparable. You go your separate ways. And it's not working, it's not working. So you go your separate ways. But now, if there were no kids involved in that kind of relationship or union or marriage, fair enough. So you just go your separate ways, and life you can pick over from there. But now, a situation where there are kids, we've seen a situation where it got to a point. I turn around and I say to my friend, you know what? If you don't forget about this child, you will die. I've seen women in this country, African women, immigrants, not the ones born here, use a child and their children as a weapon against the man. I've seen men break down. A healthy man will just break down overnight. I've seen women equally frustrated, and they're just talking to themselves on the streets. because of the frustration. Sometimes a man to invest some money and then bring the wife from Africa. So he's done the most fantastic thing that mankind can ever do. That's the most important thing ever done on the face of the earth. So he disrespects the woman, talks to the woman anyhow. Don't look, he's not committed again. He's not really respectful and condoning to his family welfare and family life. So all these things, it's a conglomerate of all these small things put together. But now, how do we come out of all these things? Your culture. Everything is contained in your culture. Everything is contained there. If your girl is a problem, culturally, what do? We call the mother. You call an elderly person in the family. And then we come from that stretch of culture where, regardless of how your wife or your partner or whoever can be very disrespectful, as soon as that elderly uncle is calling, say, from Kenya, they listen. And then someone from your village, calling from your village, let's say in Togo, and we arguing. But that uncle calls you and say, listen, your partner is telling me this, and then these people are our pillars. They're like the ancestors, those stay with us. They are the guide. They will tell you, understand, I never did this to your dad. I never did to your aunt. I never did this to your grandmother. I never did this to your grandfather. Please, this is a taboo. This is a sacrilege. Say, no, 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 no. You cannot make him homeless. You cannot make a man homeless. It's unheard of. So what would the community say? So now, because you see very clearly, Asian girls or Asian guys, they come to you and they say, okay, my woman is causing me trouble in the house. And then sometimes turn around and say, why don't you just divorce her? They say, no, 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 brother, it doesn't work like that, brother. It doesn't work like that, brother. How does it work, though? It's going to be a big thing. The whole community is going to be involved. Family is going to be involved here. Family is going to be involved down London. Family is going to be involved in Pakistan. It's a big thing. And the mosque going to be involved. So you don't want a situation where they're discussing your case in a mosque. And then I was like, hang on. And then, so the biggest thing that's going on within the Asian communities is the embarrassment. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want that stigma that you are a divorcee or you're a divorcee, that's how some people call it. So they don't want that stigma. So that culture now, it gives them that binding hybridity. It gives them that urge. So they look more into their culture, and divorce within the context of their culture is a sacrilege. It's like an abomination. So they don't want none of that. They do everything so that the unit can work. So that is respect for the culture.
Right.
Okay. In hindsight now, sorry, I'll just round up. A few minutes back, or take it some few steps back, coming with us, our African community, we've got no respect for culture. We got no respect for our culture. An African woman cooks you an African food. We understand in the UK, in the West, as they call it, it's very difficult for you to cook such because you have to spend time. It takes a lot of time, especially buying all the ingredients, and then she's done. But it's your family. You're cooking for your family. So we should just keep it simple. We don't want all this. I was very privileged. I grew up with my mom and my dad. I grew up with my mom and my dad.
Same here.
And I've seen these single kids. There's nobody there to guide them. There's nobody there to guide them. You see a girl from a single parentage, a woman that's got kids without a husband or without a man. And then she'll be talking to you and say, please, I need you to be a father figure to my son. I want you to talk to him and help him. Because growing up, we never used to be scared of our mothers. Our mom, she will cook for us. She will ensure we wash the plates. But as soon as our dad is there, that's where is rulership. That's how you understand that this is the man of the house. So the head of the house is very, very important, and the family needs to come together as a unit, as a team, and work for the advancement of that family. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you. Any
Right.
questions? Then I'll take the questions later. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thanks so much, Pharaoh. Vijora, thanks so much for calling in. How are you doing today?
Good, good. And Mr. Farrow, I hope you don't leave. I've been sitting up here listening to your thing, and that's a request. So if you can't stay on there, I really will want you to, because I'm sitting up here thinking, man, and uh, I don't know how to put it. My eyes are swelling up because
Mm,
I hear what you're saying, and I'm like, as an American, we don't have that culture, dude.
mm,
Until you have grown up here, until you have grown up, especially with the war that's on the war that's on the Black American family, it's freaking unprecedented. You can look on it, you can look at it from the outside and say, what's wrong with them, or why can't they do this, or why can't they sing
mm,
together? It's by design. But I hear you talking, and what's bringing the swelling of tears literally in my eyes. Uh,
mm,
yeah, is the fact like we don't have a culture. You're African. Miss Callie's African. You guys can trace your lineage just like that. You know exactly where you came from. You know exactly where your people are. I know I am. I know. I know my people. Descended from West Africa by way of Israel. I know that. I'm one of the few that definitely that does. But man,
mm,
I can't tell you customs. I can't tell you feasts. I can't tell you strong family units. I'm thinking back like, okay, where did we go wrong at? Now I'm looking at myself. My maternal grandfather and my paternal grandfather and grandmother, they were married something like 63 years. Yet,
mm,
yet I'm the product of a broken home. My parents couldn't seem to emulate that, even though they had that same type of training. Especially with my mother, my grandfather, my father's father. He left the family, and then we have seen a perpetual line of marital breakdown within our bloodline. That's something I really have been putting strong, serious prayer. I went through divorce myself. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't know why. I never wanted to be unmarried. I always wanted a family. That was the biggest thing that I wanted. I still do at 56. Um,
mm,
and but we look as far as you can't even say in here like this the Fitzgerald situation is exception to the rule, because I can
mm,
drop off any town in America from the East Coast to the West Coast, from the
mm,
north to the south, and this story can be repeated in the Black family. There now, I'm not one of those individual who says that the lack of personal responsibility. I do believe in personal responsibility. I believe in, once you get to an age of accountability, you are to make you do become the total of your choices. But
mm,
I cannot as a student of history, I cannot
mm,
deny the fact that for the majority of Black women and Black men getting our images
mm,
from television, which is often very, very demonic and
mm,
dehumanizing to us as a family, to us. Where we like take for example the feminist movement. We like you hear things, well, some vernacular. Well, they can't handle me because I'm a strong Black woman. Chick, you ain't a strong Black woman. A lot of us just don't want to deal with your crazy behavior. It's not that
mm,
you can't be handled. I mean, if I got to handle you, I simply don't desire you. I mean, I don't desire certain traits. It's an obsession I'm trying to build. And it's like in order, man, like, hey, I have this child on this side of town. I have this woman on this side of town. I don't respect that, and it's nothing to respect. And I respect a man and a woman raising a family, raising up a generation, a new generation, be better and more productive of what they are, to definitely be
mm,
powerful. I believe
mm,
unity is the antidote to slavery. But there is
mm,
something going on here in this land that it's practically unprecedented. I don't even now when I'm looking at different cultures, I've looked at this, I've observed this. I have the African friends that are everywhere up and from especially in Canada. There's a lot. Canada has a similar mindset as America, not as quite anti-black family like America, but when I see the cultures, they bring that upbringing and they bring that teaching with them. And it's quite simple because they know where they are, they know who they are, they know the different customs right there. Calais from Togo, correct?
Yeah.
What's your tribe?
Me, I'm from the south of Togo, so they call it people from Togo know when I say Anejo, that's where I come from. So it's not like anyone have to even take me and show me around at this
What's your tribe?
point.
What's your tribe?
It's Ewe. I'm Ewe.
Okay. Mr. Pharaoh, you come from Africa?
Yes.
What's your tribe?
Bafut.
Okay.
Bafut. I come from Bafut tribe.
What's the native language?
Bafut.
Okay.
It's got its own language.
I'm 56, college educated, an entrepreneur, a speaker, have much success in quite a few things. Had much failure in quite a few things. Ask me where I come from. Ask me my tribe. Ask me my native language. Now you guys are laughing, but I'm being dead serious. You can ask millions of African Americans that same question, and they will have that look on their face just like I am. So therefore, we don't know that what does that mean, Fitzgerald? Well, when your whole history is destroyed, when your whole identity is replaced deliberately by something that is detrimental and demonic to you, okay, to tear down your whole family structure, to pit the black man against the black woman, to put the government in a position where the black woman actually thinks that is her husband, to foster harlotry, to foster irresponsibility, to take away jobs, and if you get and to take away education, in a sense, to literally to destroy your whole identity. And you incorporate that in for generations. You weaponize it through schooling. You weaponize it through medicine. You weaponize it through legal incarceration. You weaponize it through probation. Sure, you got a few of us, who have come up. Myself and my two younger brothers, we're all college educated. We have contributed good to society, but you realize I'm in the top 1% of as a black male, simply because I got a college degree, don't have any children out of wedlock, don't have a criminal record. It's things that you wouldn't even think about. Things in your culture, they say, hey, that's how it's supposed to be. But you realize that puts me in one of the top 1% of my people. So marriage, we have a movement over here called the MGTOW movement. Is men going.
The what?
It's called the MGTOW, MGTOW. You can find it on various YouTube channels.
Oh, okay.
Men going on.
Pharaoh, have you ever heard about that movement?
No, I haven't.
What it's simply designed, it's like many men, and I don't hear this really much about what other races of men, although I'm sure it's applicable to them too. Within this nation, literally just avoiding marriage, turning a whole way from marriage, not want to get involved with women, because it is known that what the women have weaponized the court. I mean, a man can be reduced to a piece of bread over here just by the court system, which is very, very anti-male. And don't walk in there being a black woman with some type of resources. It will break you down here. Now this is fact. Okay, so we have that. We added that little thing right here, and I used to prescribe to that, particularly when I came out of divorce. and then I came out of separation. I mean, I didn't understand what, but I didn't understand. I got the memo from both my wives. Also, they need to find themselves. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You're talking. Where you're talking stuff like for 20-year-old, 30-year-old kids. I mean, we're grown people trying to build something. Nevertheless, in accordance with scripture, I believe if unbelieving wish to depart, let them depart. I mean, I'm not held in peace like that. Now, don't put that words out of my those words coming out of my mouth or something lightly. That was a tremendous loss to me. It's still a tremendous loss to me. And so when in that point of searching and figure out, what could I done and what could I did with, and why could we get by, and why could we unite? Because it was really nothing to divorce about. It's so simple looking back, but you looking like this. I want my own way, and you going your own way, and none of us can come together as far as for the units. My particular case, but I could listen to that story many a time. So long cause the MGTOW movement in my despair, in my anguish. And it was talking about it's really an anti-marriage a movement. You're supposed to just get females and have sex with them, leave them, and turn them in like a used car and stuff. And it sounds good if you don't have a center, if you don't have something like a godly center that you. But if you look at it, it's just as dangerous as feminism. Which is another thing I want to embrace. About a lot of our Black women have embraced the ideal of feminism, and they received that foolishness from a lot of their white counterparts. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing that's real interesting about that. And I'm talking particularly to who this applies to, black women. That's all cool and dandy. They want to tell you need to be strong. You don't need a man, and you can get by. You can do things like men too. No, you can't. Your role. Your children don't need a man. I could be dad to you. I've heard women over here actually getting congratulations like Happy Father's Day. You're not a father, so stop that foolishness. But before you embrace that, and before you say how your child, it's just me and mom, and we can get along fine and dandy and stuff like that. And sometimes the father is actively being pushed out of that child's life and being more so poison against that father, which he's in the office. But understand that once these different cultures of people, especially like with the white feminists, once they tell you that and they say, well, you don't need to, believe me, they go back to their vanilla king. You better understand that. And you didn't catch my meaning, which I'm not mixing words. The very ones to tell you how you ought to leave yours, they're going back to theirs. The very ones you ought to have policies, to basically tear your family down. They're not doing the same with them. The very one to tell you ought to have policies to abort your children. They're not doing it with them. So you have to be careful who's feeding you information and who's giving you information. You got to be able to think for yourself. We have a crisis primarily in Black America, not because of economics. I used to think it was economics because I teach on an economic platform. I used to think of that. It is not. It is the destruction of the nuclear family. The Black man, the Black woman united in marriage and raising up Black children, to be a generation. In other words, why is that normal for every people except us? Now for those of you who say you want to come to America, if you decide you're going to embrace this lifestyle and you don't keep your value system that you have been taught from your various cultures, whether in Indonesia or Africa, come over here, you don't keep, America will turn you out. I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care how godly you think you are. I don't care how sophisticated you are. This gravitational pull of this nation over here, especially if you're a melanated people, it's absolutely ruthless. And it's so slow and so slow and so subtle, but really lost your identity. Now when we have our women seeing our younger women seeing images of glorifications of whoredom, like the various rap videos and the foolishness, the divisive language of men out calling women out of their name, and not honored, not honored the motherhood, not honoring the fathers, not honoring the elders, not availing themselves to wisdom, not availing themselves to counsel. What do you expect to have? And yeah, I said it. I mean, I don't have to apologize to my words. I'm certainly not afraid of anybody, but as far as afraid of anybody to speak my mind. But we have a crisis. That is what's leading to the disparity of the wealth gap in Black America. That's what's leading to the miseducation of young Black youth. That's what's leading to the gang violence. You know what? And with having a father in the home, and that can instantly eliminate a whole lot of your gang affiliation. With my grandfather.
Yeah, I agree with that.
My grandfather took over with helping raise me, and I'm the oldest of 3 sons. We had a lot of energy, but we belonged to a gang, all right. It was called the Arthur Stafford Gang. He was the gang leader. We did what he said, when he said, and how he wanted it said. Yeah, he was that was the gang leader. But the gang leader told me, "Hey man, you're going to church. Even if he didn't go, he would drop us off. But you're going to get a good education. You're going to be something. You used to have little problems when you was up there with my daughter. Because you didn't have that structure, and you thought you could do everything else. Whereas a man's voice, and the children respond differently to the frequency of a man's voice than they do a female. For you ladies out there, remember that they respond.
Thanks so much, Fikira. Thanks so much.
They do a male's voice. I have a strong mother. My mother's probably the strongest willed human being that I know on the planet. Annie Lou Austin. Period. I'll stack up against anyone. But there came a time. They don't. But I couldn't speak she couldn't speak my language. I didn't. I remember one time I said something and she got ready to hit me, and I caught her hands in midair. She never did. Now, not out of disrespect, but I'm like, oh, okay, I don't do that. But my dad, even though he left the family, I remember one time about in my mid 40s, late 40s, and I forgot what I was, and I forgot who I was talking to. So I was out there, and visiting my father, and all of a sudden I started to use a profanity. It's something I got mad about. I started using profanity, and I forgot who I was around. I literally had to, that made me thinking I'm wrong. He just looked at me and said, who do you think you talking to? I promise you, Mr. Farrell, I went to like I was 7 years old. I went to like I was 7 years old. No debate. No, I'm 47, pop and all that kind of stuff. No debate. That's the frequency of a man's voice. Now we could say this like, well, most men don't know how to be fathers and stuff like that. True, we have to look for the elders training. We have to have programs of good. Most women don't know how to be wives. Well, true, because according to scripture, it said the older women are supposed to train the younger. You can't get so matched up on a wedding that you don't understand the marriage. They're entirely 2 different animals.
That's right.
Entirely 2 different animals, but you have to have certain principles. Number one, we live or die together. It is to death do us part. And it has to be. We have certain values that we bring to the table. We're trying to build something. And that's why the interviewing process, the courtship is so important. That's why you have to look at a lot of things. I don't believe in premarital sex. I don't believe in a lot of things that I see that invites destruction into your life. I don't believe in that. I believe that you need to understand marriage for what it is, a covenant that God holds you accountable for, and that if you're going to run any successful marriage, any successful union, you're going to have the empowerment of God Almighty into it. Now, that doesn't excuse you from setting all things aside and not working. That doesn't set all things aside for United, but you got to understand, the war is not on you female, the war is not on you male, the war is on the Black family, and I do mean a war. Now, other people go through divorces too, of course, yeah, they do. But there's a particular bent to it that for us with the black family, because the black family is literally targeted for extinction. And this is fact over the black American family. And I know that to be true because I grew up here. I know it to be true because I look at other cultures. I can guarantee you, not but just feeling in my spirit. I can have Mr. Fair. I can have you over here, put you in my home, or you can live next door to me, and I go see your children. Only thing different about them is they're on American soil, but culturally they're right back in Africa. I can promise you that. I can promise you that and I can promise you the same type of respect for the elders from your land. And so this is critical that we talked about. This is critical
It is.
that we talk about. And someone wrote on there, this is Christian leaning. Now, homegirl, this ain't Christian leaning. This is common sense leaning. This is godly leaning. Just everything that's astounding Christianity is not necessarily to be thrown out. That is not the case. And yes, I am a Christian, and no, I don't put my faith on anyone. But yes, I know certain concepts, concepts for survival and living and thriving has to be implemented if people are going to prosper. And you will not prosper without unity, and the family will never prosper without unity. You can't prosper with two visions.
That's true. Let me quickly add Pharaoh and Cece. You can unmute your mic if you can hear me.
Yes.
Thanks so much for calling in. It's so good and also very, very refreshing to have a lady on the panel. So, Cece, what do you think about the men contribution so far? Because this is a very, very important the topic, and because of what is happening within our Black community, I would say the diaspora, because in Africa we do have separation, divorces, but not at the same rate. The rate out here in the diaspora is alarming.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so happy that Gerard is calling from the US. I have Pharaoh here, in the UK with me, and I don't know where you are calling from, but I would love to hear what you have to say. So please go ahead. What do you think are the reasons? Because is a lot of reason behind the broken homes, divorces, and all these things. So what do you think exactly are behind all this?
Thank you, Kai, for having me on this platform. I would like to say also, Fitzgerald, you're an amazing person. I have seen you so many times on the Dynas platform. So shout outs to you, as well as African Unite Force. This is a great family. But to get on the topic of, yes, Kai, you're very correct. In the diaspora, it's very alarming. It's, Kai, I've talked to so many people, right? And they'll tell you, yeah, I'm on my second divorce, so I'm on my third divorce. And I'm like, even back home, to hear that somebody has been divorced the first time is a huge deal. But here in the West, it's so normal that you get married multiple times. And it's very alarming. And on top of what you're even saying, to even get to the point of marriage is difficult. To even get to the point of even being married, period, is difficult because of just so many of the mechanisms. And Fitzgerald has talked about so many of them. But one thing I think is just, it's so easy here they have so many things that are accessible to people. Like, I'm from Canada right now. I'm not from Canada, but I'm living in Canada. But at the age of 16, right, if you're fooling around, you're doing things, the doctor tells you, if you want to get rid of this baby, you can do it without your parents' permission. Like, you have, it's like it gives you that ability to, oh my gosh, it makes it easier for, if you fool around, not to worry about the consequences so much, because, okay, my parents don't even have to know that I'm in this position, so I can take care and do this myself. And I don't care what people say, but I think 16 is a little bit young to make that decision.
Not a little bit young. It is.
Yeah.
Because you literally you don't know nothing when it comes to says how even you don't even know your body at that point properly, because you are developing, you are growing. So your hormones are all over the place. So anything you are doing at that age, you mentally, physically, spiritually, you are not even prepared to even go there to start with. So, I agree with that. Is 16 is very, very young age where you're supposed to focus on your books, literally on your books. Yeah.
That's
So
why.
let me quickly, Paul is already here. So Paul, if
Yes.
you want to add, anything to this great discussion, please go ahead and do so. I believe you're calling from the state as well, right?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you
Yes.
clearly. Go ahead.
Yes, I am calling you from United States. And I appreciate what the other gentleman said. Was that Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I had already put a general comment in the chat.
Right.
But and what I said was, I said that God instituted marriage, and that God gave the commands, the principles, and the guidance to have a lasting, happy, and successful marriage. And then I put what the problem is of why we don't have a happy, why there isn't many happy and successful marriages. I put when we don't follow that guidance, then failure will be the consequences.
Yes.
Because God wants our family life to be happy. And now I follow the Bible. And the Bible, I know for a fact that it provides guidance for each family member. And it describes the role that God wants each one of us to play. And when a family member fulfill their roles in harmony with God's counsel, the results are very satisfying. So family happiness depends mainly on our recognizing that the family originates with God. Every family, matter of fact, every family on earth exists because of our Heavenly Father. And he certainly knows what makes families happy, right? Since he created it, since he put that, he instituted that. He definitely he must know how what makes a marriage be successful. And also, the Bible it gives information in the Bible for both husbands and wives. The Bible says that husbands should treat their wives in the same way that Jesus treated his disciples. And so husbands, it tells us that husbands ought to be loving their wives as their own body. And so the Bible also urges us to keep on loving your wives and not to be angry with them. So since it says to keep on, that tells you that's a continuing process.
Yes.
Because the reason that he shouldn't be angry with his wife, not to be bitterly angry with her, is because he should remember that his own mistakes and what he must do to receive God's forgiveness. So he must forgive those who sin against him, and that includes his wife. And of course, she should do the same.
So Paul, at that stage, do you think that the father I think it's the homegirl that actually put a statement here that, you know, I have to agree with. People are just jumping into marriage these days, not even preparing themselves properly. Broken people, not healed. They didn't take time to do their homework properly. Maybe the friends are getting married and they just find someone, think they are ready where they are not ready.
Hold on, Miss
So
Callie, for a second. Hold on for a second. She's been interrupted. You mean to tell me we can't live off of love? But I love him and her. You know, why do I need to talk about finance? Why do I need to talk about your family background? Why do I need to talk about why do I need to talk about possibly soul ties? Why do I need to talk about number of sexual partners you have as if that's not going to affect my union? Why do I need to talk about all these things? We love everyone. We need to just go ahead and get a candy apple. I feel so good with him or her. You know, what if you know, what if he had a couple things, and what if he has anger issue? What if she has self-identity issues? That what you talk? I mean, I've been talking for him for 3 days. We know we in love. Oh, I just feel it. I just got to run away and everything like that. We're going to live off of love. What if they not no substantial career and no substantial skills to build on? What if no vision? But I'm in love. We're just going to have these children and stuff. What if you don't have no place to raise them? Where are you going? But I just love and stuff like that.
That alone is not enough. I'm sorry, sir. That alone is not enough.
That's correct.
And that's why we are having all these problems out here. For, you know, because people are immature. It doesn't matter someone's age. Don't go by their age. Because there are lots of people out there looking like strong, real men, looking like strong, you know, beautiful, have it all together women out there, but they don't even know what it takes for two people to be in one house. People coming from two different background, and staying in one place. That is a huge thing to start with.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, you're correct about that. About as far as about the roles, because that's another big problem, is that why marriages are falling apart is who you're choosing, because you know, you got people going into marriage that don't know what their roles is, don't even know how to implement the role, because a family is an organization, and to operate smoothly, it needs a head, and the head, of course, he's supposed to be a mature person, responsible. You know, he should be able to, you know, like people say, to protect, to provide. But if he doesn't know how to do that, then of course there's going to be a problem. But then that's why I'm leaning on the Bible, on of learning what goes into the role of being a husband. Because even Jesus has one that he submits to as his head, because the Bible says the head of the Christ is God, just as the head of the woman is the man. And so, you know, imperfect men as we are, we make mistakes, and we fall short of being what an ideal family head is supposed to be like. But that doesn't mean, oh, then I can follow whoever I want to as a role model. You don't follow whoever you want to as a role model, because they themselves are imperfect. So then, such as our peers, such as the media. So then, if you want the best guidance, then you're going to go to someone who has the best guidance. And now,
That's
of course,
true.
with
So what
the
do you
guy.
think?
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the comment of back to the back to the basics? Because she said that's the problem, feelings and not thinking. Because people are out here just jumping
I may
into
add to
relationship, jumping into marriages. Like I was saying, no, homework, nothing, and they are just creating lots of problem out here. So, what do you
and really,
guys
no,
think?
the children are the most suffering from it. No, excuse me, interrupting. The children are the most to suffer. I mean, it has to be something bigger than the couple. You're trying to raise up a next generation. And let me be emphatically clear, as far as like that. There are many, and I say many. There are many Black couples doing it right. They have a nuclear family. They're doing it right. They don't get the publicity like on TMZ and CNN for some reason, but there are a lot of them do it right. There are a lot of our beautiful women who have not embraced that demonic feminism bull stuff. They don't believe in that, and they support they don't support that at all. They walk with dignity, respect.
Kira, you're breaking up. I don't know if people in the chat can hear you.
And virtue and value, and I applaud that. Yeah, the other thing this have to be a norm. We have to stop celebrating destructive behavior.
Mm.
And for those who perpetuate that destruction, they don't glorify that. You glorify. Ain't nothing. Ain't that nothing. There's nothing to be celebrated. You walking around, with 7 different children, but by 7 different women, or vice versa. It ain't nothing glorifying about that. It's nothing glorified that you're not trained up the new generation, that you're leading a lifestyle by example that's detrimental to not only you or even other children. I yet to father children, but you know what? I know that other kids are looking at me. I know the way I care about myself. Especially if I'm considered elder. If I'm going to be considered elder, I need to act like I got some sense. I need to act like I have some morality about me, some stability about me. I consider myself a high value man, and I just don't go out there and engage inappropriate with women and tearing down their virtue and tearing down. That's not a man. But I want to say that there are a lot of people doing it right. There are a lot of couples out there, Black couples out there doing it right. They don't get accolade. They don't get the exposure like the Carly B's or all the rest of the crazy whoredom that you see on TV, or the rap stars walking around and doing detrimental lyrics to our people. They don't get the publicity. So we need to change. Let me tell you why this subject is the most critical that I've heard all year. Because, like I said, my program is about finances, and I used to bleed it. And up to this show, I used to really bleed it. Well, the problem with the Black people is that we don't have finances. Yes, that's a contributing factor. That's not the foundational problem. The foundational problem that's causing all the rest of these problems is the destruction of the nuclear family. The one man, one woman raising children together to be a force in society. Now. Our society is going to put on these things. They're going to say, okay, we already know you're detrimental to us. You're proving that with your history. That's okay. But please, let's no longer be detrimental to ourselves. If anything, that should cause more of us to unite, to build something. And we need to start punishing stank behavior. We need to start punishing, the detrimental behavior. You got music artists out there or film artists out there, and you're putting that garbage, okay, simple. We just won't support you. We need to start putting mentor programs. There's so many Black youths out there who are crying out for fathers, so many single mothers crying out. We need to get the stigmatization of single mothers, as if you made some crazy choice to be there. You may have, but you know what? Still, you need help. And we need men. We need to be a provider in a sanctuary,
provider, protector,
and help that child.
I agree with you, Fitzgerald. I truly agree with that statement, because there are lots of men out here, not even knowing what is, they don't know the roles and responsibilities of a real man, but they are out here messing around and doing what they're not supposed to be. Because when you are, a responsible, mature man, you before even you go into a relationship, there are certain questions you're supposed to ask yourselves. And if you don't tick certain boxes, you're doing, you are part of the problem if you don't tick certain boxes and you are out here fooling around. Because it's just too much. It's sad to see, our boys on the street, and in most cases, is those boys comes from a single parent household. So you are part of the problem. And the homegirl healer said something also that we really need to pay attention to, because in most cases, certain people are comparing their marriages to other people that are also married. And they end up criticizing. Even no matter what you do, is never enough for the next person, because they're always constantly comparing. So, I have to agree with what the homegirl healer say right there. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that also is very, very important.
She's
Trying
right.
to live up to other people's standards destroy a lot of marriages. Your marriage is yours to build and make beautiful. You can't worry about other people's, and I agree with that.
One reason why you hear me talking, I'm so grateful for you getting this subject, because I really didn't know which way to go. I mean, I didn't. One thing I could say, well, man, you've been divorced, and who are you to talk to someone about marriage? And I put that aside. If I would have had my way, I would have still been with my wife now. That wasn't my choice. That was hers. Which is another thing we see a lot of women that go leading into the divorce courts more so than men. I mean, men, you'll find us a typical man. I can't speak for a woman. I don't know a woman. I know, but I definitely know men. We don't like change, man. Once we get a hold of something, especially something's great for us, not unless you're not a natural born slap poo. You're not going to tear your family up. No man is ever the same after his family is destroyed. I assure you. That is a blow you never get over, and you're gonna, we're, as a matter of fact, we're hurting probably greater, because in our mind, like, we lost that we couldn't hold in the stuff, but that's not necessarily the case. You got to be willing to build something. Now, why am I so tough on men? Sounds like some people like people. It's like he's talking about women. No, I'm really more tougher. I want to be more tougher on men, and here's why: we're the foundation of it all. We're the foundation of. I'm a firm believer to this day. That in the marriage, my wife has my last name. I don't have hers. It all falls on me. I was out in my prayer session early this morning, and I had an elder tell me. He said, "Fitzgerald, really, as men, that's our responsibility. The woman's doing stuff. Hey, that's she's the weaker vessel. Your job is to hold it down. You figure that out, and you can't figure it out. You're supposed to go before God Almighty and get the answer. But that's your job. You can't fold. I mean, if anything, if anything comes up, you're supposed to hold ground. You're as a man. That's what we do. We provide and we protect. We provide and we protect. Now we do need support. Because I would tell you, there's not a man who's achieved any type of level of greatness, and nor is he's going to be able to sustain it without the love and support of a good woman. You can quote that. You can quote that for all you self-made cats.
No matter how strong, no matter how strong you are, as a man, you need the woman.
You need the woman.
two.
You understand? We need each other. It's not but none to go one stronger than the other. Now, for those of you who, especially my beautiful female listeners, for those of you who say like, hey, you have a problem with submission, you're not supposed to submit to ungodly commands. Okay, the ungodly suggestions. As a matter of fact, if anything, if you want to do it proper in order, the man is supposed to more so submit to you. You know, and here's what I mean by that. We understand. Okay, the majority of the responsibility falls on us. If your wife has some type of problem, if your wife has some type of thing, you need to look in yourself. Okay, how can I serve that need? What can I do to cover? What can I do to take the trauma away? Because she gives up her name, she gives up a body figure to bear your children. She cooks your food. She does all these things. Your job is to figure out how you can make that life better. Why do you want to make her life better? Why do you want to alleviate stress from her? Because you know what? Once she starts supporting you, lifting you up in prayer, it's going to alleviate stress from you. But see, you know, but some people could say, well, you know, Fitzgerald, you're a Southerner, you're in your 50s. Yeah, but there was a certain constitution I seen, and one of the biggest things that I feared was coming from was having a broken home, because my parents was broken home. I didn't want to repeat that. Guess what happened? But if I look back if I look back behind it, yeah, I could have been better. No, I wasn't running around. No, I wasn't out partying. No, I wasn't blowing money. I just couldn't communicate to my wife, you know, the page that I was on, because women must know where they're going. Men should know. Awesome. If you want to lead a woman, dang it, you better have a direction. You better say, we're going to take this here. You better have a goal. A woman ain't about
Yep. Fitzgerald, I agree. I agree 1,000%.
To start getting in this and going through some things, and like my dad went through a divorce. My parents, obviously, and I was angry at Pop. Pop stayed away for years, and I was real angry because to me, no matter what happened to mom and dad, between you and your wife, my mother, dude, you should have stayed, but you should have made sure your kids was covered. But nevertheless, for some reason he didn't. Okay, and so in my late 40s, I had a conversation with him, you know, and we were talking about marriage and relationships. Well, after I went through a divorce, but my dad had made a comment to me. He said, you know, I didn't leave. I was driven away. Well, I know my mom. You know, I know how strong-willed my mother can be. And I didn't understand that until it happened to me. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get serious. We have to get serious about uniting.
That's right.
These races are going to pick us apart and destroy us. And they're going to do it with pleasure. And, you know, and so we there is no competition. You're not in competition because I'm a man, you're a woman. We need each other. We need each other first.
Say that again.
We need each other. There's no one
stronger. Allow Miss Angela to share with us what she wants to share with us tonight. Can you please repeat the last sentence, please? Because some people out there, both sides, they could be a man that think like, oh, I really don't need a woman. As long as I have girls, I'm sleeping with left, center, right, I'm good. Ask yourself, is that a life when you are in your 60s going up to 70s? Who is even going to be around if you are not committed to no woman out there? You can be doing the sleeping here and there. Now that's on you. But for how long though? So thanks so much, Gerard, for your contribution. Much appreciated. And yes, we have Miss Angela here. So I'm going to let her share what she has to share with us tonight.
Hi, well, thank you very much, Kai, and thank you for holding this really excellent discussion. I think it's high time, and if we don't focus on ourselves, nobody else is going to. So it's an area that's I have a lot of passion about.
Right.
And I hear the passion also in the brother's voice, especially you, Fitzgerald. You are right. The family, I see it that the family is under attack. And until we can educate ourselves about what is going on, look at the statistics, look at the patterns, really understand, we will not see it as a global or a general thing. We may just be in our little corners, everyone fighting their battle, you know, husband and wife. But when you look at the grand scene, you will see that it's bigger than actually meets the eye. So I really agree with this discussion, and I agree that it's something that needs to continue. For the African family, I don't enjoy that word Black family. I want people, because we've talked from hearing people here this evening, our brother Pharaoh, our brother, was it Kurt? One chap that spoke, Paul, you know, it's about actually reclaiming our identity. Culture is very important, because when you reclaim your identity, people begin to respect you for who and what you stand for. Brother Pharaoh said earlier on about the Asian community, and nobody can touch them because their community, their culture is out there, it's solid. Don't mess with me. This is what I am. I love to see when an Asian woman walks into Parliament and she's wearing her sari. That's who I am, and I am going to do the business of the country, but on my terms. Do you understand? So
that's right.
Integral. I'm an African, I'm a Nigerian, and I have been married. I've witnessed, you know, all sides of the spectrum. I had a 25-year marriage. In fact, 30 years, 25 by the time my, you know, ex-husband left. So I've been through that. I've enjoyed marriage or not enjoyed marriage. I've also become a single mother, and I've brought up children. All I am going to say really in this particular discussion is, let us look and let us sit down with our families. Let us do some research and say, child, husband, wife, let us look at what is actually going on. 50%, Brother Fitzgerald talk about America, 50% of Black Americans have never been married. They don't get married. Yeah. And then it says here that the statistics is about 29% get married, as opposed to about 48% of the general population. So if we start looking, and what happens in America replicates itself here also in the UK, or anywhere else perhaps in the world where there's a large, you know, Black diaspora. That's now, right. even in Africa, the motherland, don't be surprised. Families are being challenged. It's not like it was when, you know, in our parents' generation. Yes, I'm well into my 50s. It's not like it was before. Things have changed. And there are so many things that is fighting against the African family. I want to say that we are African wherever we are.
That's right.
There are forces that is coming up against us. And this is what we need to tackle. I don't know if it was Brother Fitzgerald that also mentioned about the new wave of feminism, you know, from the 50s to the 60s, and this new thing that it just pushed itself well into the 90s and right up here. There is a brand of feminism that the African women, African Caribbean, African American, wherever they are pushing, you know, in a way that can be really detrimental. And that, I am all powerful. Even if we have been divorced, you don't have to disrespect men. That's what I say to those that, and a brother there said, we used to have the older women counseling the younger ones. I'm not going to pick my issues and say that all men are disgusting, all men are this, I don't need them. I need a man in my home to look after my children. That is the mentality, and to look after me. It's a God thing. And as a Christian as well, I would also say that, yes, the man is the head of the home. But the Bible also tells you in Ephesians, submit to one another. It doesn't mean being...
So it's not one way.
It doesn't mean having under your armpits. You've got no right. It doesn't mean to suppress her because maybe you've got the economic power under your wings or something, or to ridicule her, or to try and make, you know, fun of her in amongst your family. We've also got to talk about the role of the extended family. Mother-in-laws, be careful. Sister-in-law, be careful. Be careful. Friends, be careful. Because that advice that you're giving to somebody based on your own experience, you don't know. You're not walking in their shoes. You don't know what they have been through to get to where they are. So don't give advice. You should do this. You should do that. Pray for one another. Lift each other up. And if you want to say, well, I'm seeing it just from your point of view, girlfriend, try and say to her, have you seen it from his point of view? And the person that is talking is somebody, I have seen it all. Yeah? I've had that experience. And many people out there as well, they are hurting. Yes, I know women, we are hurting, but men are also hurting. And because women, we can go off to one another and talk of, share our problems and discuss and, girlfriend, he did this and did he really do that? You should, no, shut up, stop it. That's what I'll say to the sisters out there. And this new brand of feminism that is going into everybody's head, just behave yourselves, I would say. Slow down and realize that the man that sometimes we get it so wrong. We keep going round and round and round in circles. And if you go to girlfriend A's house or go to girlfriend B's house or C's house, the same issues do sort of go round and round and round. And I'm not blaming women and I'm not blaming men. They are around us that we need to sit down at the round table and say, this is happening. In the African community, I know there's a lot of cultural organizations where people come together and they discuss, family events, cultures, and those things were really integral to. And I wish that my African brother there in America, that there were organizations and community groups, they act as support bubbles. Do you understand? For one another. And they share and they have something in common and you build that common experience together. They are so, and I think people can begin to think about that. Even in your community, you can come together to share. Do you understand? To participate in things. And I want to go back to the Bible again because I am a strong believer. Children, honor your parents. It will be well with you. You know how much families are suffering because of what their kids are doing to them. And this is bringing a pressure on father and mother, is bringing disagreement. I just want children, if children are watching, just think of what you are doing, because you've got a mom and dad that are trying to raise you up and you're bringing your issues every single day. Maybe you're out there, with the group that is influencing you badly. Maybe it's money you're after, but think, because it can be very, very destructive. That is the role that I would say, children, be very, very careful. And for those that have a single mother and you're doing this to them, it's double whammy. Because sadly, there are so many women doing a great job trying to raise children on their own. I've been there. It's hard. So I've had both sides of the coin. Do you understand? Yeah, it's so hard. And I think we need to, in fact, for those women that are doing it and doing it successfully, I raise my hand up to them, because it's not an easy job. I would say to the fathers, really, when the Bible tells us that the father is the head of the home, the father, you're not a tyrant. You're the head of the home in a godly way. If you want your wife to fear you and you're not fearing God, if you want your wife to look up to you, but you've got nobody to look up to, what do you expect? And I'm sorry, a lot of people have turned their culture into, this and people cling on to so many things and say, this is culture, this is what it's about. My ancestor did this, or my ancestor. No, it's not everything that your ancestors did that is right.
That's true.
A lot of men were bullied by their parents. A lot of men were slapped left, right, and center. And they begin that culture of slapping and beating of their children and calling them names.
This is deep.
In the disguise of correction. Train a child the way they should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. So I would say for a successful family, give your children God, and you can't go wrong. Give them Jesus. Give them Jesus. A lot of people are crying because they are a shapeless family, brought up by shapeless parents, brought up by shapeless fathers who don't really know where they're going.
That I agree. I agree with that.
And this is what I'm thinking. And then some people are brought up by parents who are being corrupted by the philosophies of this age, by the ideologies of this age, by the power movements, feminism, this social media, you name it. I think people should begin to educate themselves a lot more. And I tell you, read the Bible. There is nothing that happens to families that is not reflected in the Bible. Do you understand? The Bible,
thanks so much.
The story of families, they've been there before. So I don't know why people don't use this as a guideline to try and bring up themselves, their families. So I love this discussion. I love
so much.
And I love talking. I respect you men. Believe you me, it doesn't matter what me as an individual have gone through. For me, I believe that men have a position, not just in families, in our community, in our society. You are kings. And if we look back to where we're coming from, if we're talking culture, our heritage, we are coming from a line, a royal line, where even the kings, they couldn't just be anyhow. They had standards to live up to.
Yes, that's true. Where people are busy, sorry, Auntie Angela, once when people are out here busy saying, I'm a king, kingship comes with roles and responsibilities.
Exactly.
So it's not a title you just carry and move around and no.
It's not anyhow. It's not anyhow, as the Nigerians would say. It's not anyhow. It comes with big fat responsibility.
That's
Do you understand?
true.
And there is a difference, because I have seen how people behave in the motherland, especially when it comes to the integrity of families. There is a fear of breaking families. That is ingrained. And I remember, Brother Fitzgerald saying, we have no culture. We do have a culture. As Africans, we do have a culture. It doesn't matter whether you're African living in America. This is what has been stolen for us to believe that we don't have a culture. And it's never too late. There's so much out there in the media, on the internet. Within seconds, you can find out what is this culture, what is this background, where is it, and it can give you a certain confidence. I mean, I can sit here, and if I want to find out about what's going on in China, I can do it. What more? My own people of my own race. Lie that we are separated and we are different and we are divided and there's this, we are all one race, the African race. Whether you're living in America, you can even find that your African race were right there in America from time, or in the Caribbean from time. So I really encourage that wherever we are, we need to be careful. We need to treat each other with delicacy, with sensitivity. But most important, we need to treat each other with love. And for our children, it says children are a heritage from the Lord. They're a heritage, and a reward from him. So if we want our family lines to continue, and God blessed Africa with a huge resource of people, a culture. Sometimes I just go on YouTube and I'm watching the brothers and they're dancing and the color and the celebrations. And I say, I'm so happy and proud when I look at these. And then you see the transport of that to our families in the Caribbean and in Brazil and in America. It's the same. So the family, how can we lose this? We have to change. And we have to change our mindset. And I'll say it one more time. Destruction of the family is caused by so many things. But I would say above all, you know, the Bible says, if my people could but call my name and humble themselves, I will heal their land. I will heal their families. I will heal their brokenness. I will heal their confusion and their losses. And this is time for Africa to just get up, rise, take back our families. Families are so integral for our finances, for our peace of mind, for our mental health. You know the high rate of mental health here in the UK alone for Black people. It's high. Or even the criminal statistics, the crime statistics. And we haven't even talked about education. Going on. You know, some children do very well by the time they're in the last stages of primary school. They're doing quite well. By the time they get to secondary school, what happens? Yeah. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot for us to actually, you know, deal with.
I agree.
As families. And you know what? The last thing I would say, we are each other's keepers. And within your community there, come out and look for people. Look for people like yourself. Talk to one another. I normally see, you know, young women around, and I will talk to them because, you know, God has blessed me with experience, damaging ones as well as good ones. But, you know, whatever experience we have, we've got to use it in a very positive way. And don't say that because of that, I'm going to start hating. I'm going to start this. Men are no good. Women are no good. No, we are all good. We were created in the image of God. We just have experiences. And whatever experience we have, we need to run with it and make good of it and continue, empower ourselves. It's not over until God says it's over.
That's right.
So I believe that we need to really change our mindset. We need to change our mindset. We need to continue to love one another. I want to see a brother, and he is a brother. I have a brother, you know, in different parts of the world. And I will never in my life open up my mouth and say, oh, men, I hate men. Oh,
exactly.
Men. No, I love my brothers. Men are good. But the only thing is there's stuff happening that men need to address.
Yes.
There's stuff happening that women need to address. We all need therapy. We need a communal therapy, a social therapy, an international global therapy.
That's right.
That's the only way we can heal this problem, because it's a big one.
It is. It is. We're definitely, you know, going to continue the discussion next week. So, guys, prepare yourself. I'm going to give GB the opportunity now to contribute, and then we do one round, and Pharaoh will close out. Yeah. So go ahead, GB. JB, you need to unmute yourself. Unmute your mic.
All right. I think I'm back.
Yes, you're good. You're good.
Greeting from this side. How are you, everyone?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. And let us know where are you calling from, please.
I'm gonna watch things here. Right now, I'm calling in Africa. I'm in Somalia, but as you know, I'm a Ugandan. So I was just stuck here due to the COVID-19, and I think everything is solved. Very soon I'll be going back in Africa, in Uganda. So in case if you want to visit Uganda, contact me, or if you want to visit any African continent, African country, contact me, I'll help you. I love the topic for today. And I also appreciate you, the way you set your topic. I always watch you just because I'm somehow busy. I know that Mr. Steven, I know you. I know Mr. Your name is somehow complicated for me. something that is very hard for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you guys. I always watch you on your channels. Mr. Paul, unless the madam, I don't know her, but I hope I'm so glad to see you and my family
No,
on
her
this
now. Yeah.
channel. Back to the topic
Thank you.
of today. The one challenge I've seen, or even my friends who are living in Diaspora, those who are complaining about their marriage, first of all, people who are living, you people who are living there are forgetting our culture, the way we behave in Africa, the way we wear our clothes. You know, you find your African lady living in UK somewhere, but you're wearing like white. You see, and most of you ladies, when you get money, you become a Satan to the husband.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
oh.
yes, I know. Because I have my friends who always complaining about that. When you get money, you feel you are in heaven, and you forget the rules. You know, the Bible says when God created everything, and He created Adam, and then he gave Adam everything to rule the world, and then he realized that no, uh, Adam wasn't happy. You know, he was missing something, and they're going to decide to create Eva, and that is you, a lady who's watching me. And now you forgot there is a scripture in the same say that a lady shall be a helper. You know, ladies, you mostly you forget about that. And then you, you jump and you become husband in the house because
Oh,
you have money. Yes, most of the problem is money. If you cannot balance money and marriage,
no,
complication will
no,
be
no,
there.
no, all ladies.
No,
Go ahead.
most of you, especially when you start men telling you are beautiful, and you forget where you came with your husband. That's the big problem with you ladies. I know you, even these fail minds, they know you. I'm not joking. Uh, some of you, maybe you went there when you are black. Now you bought some medicine. You start being white, like then you start behaving like them. No, we have to go back to our culture.
I
So
agree. Going back here.
that yes, no, making yourself be brown is not a problem. But can you remember about our culture? That could be the key. I think so.
All
And then
right.
to the side of men, when also we get money, we look also for young ladies. And that's also another big problem. And what I think and my understand on this discussion, let every man or woman to marry the wife you love in your heart. Uh,
Mm,
because the process of being with a wife, it's a big process.
mm,
Sometimes it is too hard. Actually, when you check 90% on 100%, it is rare to find a lady or a man, those who started together and they are still together now. It's
mm.
small number. The reason is not because the first lady you married she was bad, but she was not your number.
Oh,
Yeah, or a husband or a wife, she was not your husband. And you find some people, maybe they have separated, they have divorced, and you find become a battle. No, process of being with someone who is all your life, it's a big process. That's why me, I respect the link. I don't just wait because I know the day I'll get the link and I put to the lady, she will be my partner all my life. Now, I feel bad if we get divorced in and I've talked to my friend, I've got wife. That's why I can marry, I can be with wife, but without the link. Because I feel I need enough time to clean my heart to say, ah, she's the one, and I will not get another one. So that is another big process. So what you should do, or men who are watching us and even single, make sure that you take a partner you love. I'm telling you, if you love the lady, even if they say men cheats, even if you cheat, you play anything not to show her that you have someone. If you don't love her, you even saw the message, you don't mind. So the only thing to solve all the problem, marry the person you love. And in case when you have the person you don't love, be patient with her until God is time. Maybe you divorce in peace and you get the person you have. time is not enough. I still have a
All
lot to
right.
share with you, but let me wish you a nice time.
All right. Thanks so much, JB, for calling in. I'm going to let Paul say what he needs to say because we're going to round up now. So, Paul.
Yes. Okay. First of all, I want to say that okay, since we talked about divorces and the reason and you know why there's so many divorces, but now I want to mention about what if a person marriage is in danger and they haven't divorced yet, but they are considering divorce. There might be people in the chat that way, or people that's listening. But because I think that if your marriage is in danger, think carefully and then think again, because it is possible that your marriage can be saved, and thus you and those involved, which would include your children, can be spared the agonizing consequences of getting a divorce. Because if you can remember the happiness when you first met, what went wrong after that? Is it your mate's fault, or is it yours, or is it both? Because there you have to ask, has there been a failure in one of the three basic requirements of a good marriage, which would be communication, cooperation, and consideration. And even if your failures have been only partly to blame, have you said sorry? Yes, because just saying that sincerely and humbly can often break apart a deadlock in a partnership where you're not moving forward. But just saying you're sorry. Marriage problems often can become so complicated that a man and a wife are no longer able to correct them without help. But where can a person go for help? There are many marriage counselors in this world, and often their advice is helpful, yet because there's no common standard among them, their views can be contradictory. So what a marriage in trouble needs is the very best counsel that comes from the most reliable source. And the best counsel on marriage comes from the one who has the best knowledge. I mean, no, I'm talking about God. It's the one who has the best knowledge of human nature and the most experience. And that's, of course, our Creator who has made man and woman. He brought them together in the first marriage. He has had thousands of years of experience in viewing marriage here on. So when he gives us counsel in his Bible, it works. With both parties. Yes, go ahead.
We're definitely going to carry on with the discussion. This first part is just to look at the reasons, the cause of the alarming rates.
Yes.
But next week we're going to look at the solutions. And when it comes to your life is actually in danger in a marriage, that also is a big thing, because with what we've been seeing recently, so many women lost their lives. So domestic violence is I'm not saying it's only affects women. Sometimes also it affects men, but we need to sit down and talk about all these things. So we're going to round up with this stream, but definitely next week we're going to look at the solutions and the red flags, because I'm sure there are singles right now in the chat or dating, so certain things when you start seeing those red flags, just run for your life.
That's right.
So thanks so much for calling in. I appreciate your contributions. I'm going to move it to Fitzgerald. You know, we keep it 3 minutes sharp, and then Miss Angela will follow Fitzgerald, and Pharaoh will end the will round up.
Well, I think I've enjoyed this discussion very much. I was kind of a little inadequate knowing what to say, but I've enjoyed listening to different viewpoints. Miss Angela, thank you for adding. Mr. Farrell, Mr. Graves, thank you for your viewpoint. But to me, it comes down to, for the survival of the Black family, it's going to have to be the Black man getting in position. I'm not going to excuse our role in that. I mean, I'm not going to say cooperating and those things are cool, but someone better be out there fighting. Someone better be out there providing. You know what? And we see the first marriage, and many of us have expounded upon our faith, and that's great. I love great biblical godly counsels. I set my life by it. With everything happened in the garden, the Creator, the Creator held a man responsible. Okay, regardless of what his the Creator wasn't hearing that. He wasn't hearing that. As a matter of fact, when he opened his mouth to try to go ahead and say that it was your fault because this chick you gave me, that just shut the whole thing down. The man is responsible for the state of the Black family around the world. My country, your country, everywhere. Until men get in position, getting back to their Creator, getting instructions of the Lord our God, learn how to do that and act it accordingly. Because if He sent her right, I promise you, God will send her right, and those children will be sent her right. And as for you kids like that getting dishonor your parents, I mean, I for me to hear that from an English point of view is like astonishing me. But my philosophy always been simple, raising kids, and I had stepkids. My made them think I was crazy, and they were. I don't negotiate with children, and I don't negotiate with anything. But after it all gets down, after I said, okay, well, so and so happened in my house. Yeah, she did that. God ain't never came to me and talked about me what my wife did or didn't do. No, it's almost like He always held me responsible. So you call yourself a man and you want the role of one. Got it. You're the apex predator. Be in position. Be in position. And even if something doesn't go right with that woman, your children are still your responsibility.
That's right.
Your children are still your responsibility. I've been separated for 2 years from my wife. Haven't seen her in 2 years. Still my wife. I still conduct myself as a married man. No one better not hurt her or attack her. I'll still provide for her. That's my responsibility. That's my covenant. And for those
worth submitting to, worth a man, because some men are out here, they will be banging on submitting. So you have to ask yourself, are you worth submitting to? So thanks so much, Gerard, for adding,
thank you,
your word. And I'm going to let Mrs. Angela take it on now.
Thank you, Miss. Okay, I think one of the things that I would like to sum up with is that a lot of people go into marriage hurting from family backgrounds, ancestral things that have happened also in families. And maybe they like the idea of marriage, but there's not really some confidence in it. Some people, maybe they just want to answer married. Or they need somebody that seems to tick all the boxes, But I will still maintain that one needs to really try and know themselves, know who you are. But I will always continue to say, until families give themselves up to Christ, and until men recognize that there is no one, somebody is above you. You can't just say, I'm above this family and I'm boss and I'm leader and I'm going to do this. If you look at it, marriages all over the world are ending in high rates of divorce. You know, I think, you know, I don't know if it's 42% of families in the UK alone are divorcing. So I know it's probably similar rates. So the world is suffering from, you know, attack on the families. And it starts, once you sever that unity between man and woman, you know, you've got everyone. You've got children going up and down to prison. You've got all sorts of crimes happening, and it all evolves around the family. So one, I would say, people heal from whatever issues are around you, and pray about it, because you can't heal yourself. A lot of women are hurting, and understandably so, because stuff has happened to them. Even in their own families, there's been lots of things that have happened to women, and they take it into, when they now meet a man, sometimes women don't see a good man when they see one, because that barrier has been built up. So they can't see a good thing. Do you understand? And for men, I would say, just, you know, the way you would like your sister, your blood sister, to be treated.
That's it.
Treat somebody else's sister that way.
That's right.
So go into this thing with love, but also go into it prayerfully. And remember, just as you are head of your family there, the way God instituted it, somebody is above you. And if your woman doesn't see you looking up to someone who is Christ, what do you really expect? So show that to your family. Show it to your woman. Take her and worship with her. Read the Bible together. And I don't care what race, creed, even faith that you are in or want to go into. Try Jesus. It works. It works in families.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Miss Angela, there is one question there. Though we are rounding up now, I just want you to answer that quickly, please. And then Pharaoh will be the last one.
What was your question?
You know, there is someone in the chat that asked, what marital experience does God have?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. Well, yes. God is the creator. He created all things. He created all our institutions. And the marital experience he has is that he created man and woman. And the first thing we read about in the Bible is about a married couple. So from the beginning of creation, God instituted families, and he created these things for our own good. And for a man, he gave him a woman as a helper. And that's probably, yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Miss Angela. And Pharaoh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Special guest, go ahead and close us up. And like I say to everyone in the chat, thanks so much for joining and, staying with us almost close to 2 hours. Much appreciated. Kindly thumbs up the stream, and if you find this stream helpful, please share with friends and family. And if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe. We are coming back tomorrow before Pharaoh close us up. There is something happening right now again, in Black community, specifically the diaspora. People are taking $5, $10, going to Africa, thinking they were going to live their best life. And there is so many rubbish coming out right now that is not good, and we don't need that energy right now because we are at war, like I keep saying on this channel. So I'm going to have Prince Daniel Sami on tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. I want my brothers and sisters to go on the continent, to visit, to invest. And you guys, that I have different guests on this platform to share, tell you guys about their businesses, how you can invest, what you can do in different countries if you want to relocate or purely have a business, simply to prepare anyone that's interested to go to Africa to avoid certain things. So it's very, very important. Tune in tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. We need to learn and do better and respect one another. That's very, very important. So Pharaoh, please go ahead and close us up.
Thank you again for giving me the honors to close this meeting today with very powerful speakers like Sister Angela. Your remarks are very powerful. My brother Fitzgerald, I really get your story and part of your history and part of the institutionalized system there, breaking the black families up. I was talking to a girl in America, Katrina. She's in Chicago. She used to say to me, "But Dr. Chiel, you have to understand, you just the recent generation from Africa, that we left Africa 350, 400 to 600 years ago. So it's very difficult for us to like connect with Africa the way you guys, because you still have your cousins there, you still have some of your siblings there, which are kind of, yeah, of course, I do understand. But what I'm going to say is, we still have to fall back to our culture. It's a cultural thing. I did an in-depth research as to why too many black families break up. And I discovered that it's because they've dumbed their culture. The Asians are together, and it's their culture holding them. We cannot say there isn't domestic violence within the Asian community. There is. We cannot say there are no police brutalities there or whatever. Or we cannot say the racism or the institutionalized marginalization doesn't take place within the Asian communities. They do. But now what the Asians discovered is their culture supersedes any other culture. So if we blacks, if we Africans can incorporate that, because whatever thing you're going through in your life, and then let's say you ring me by chance for an advice, I will say, what does your culture stipulate? How do you deal with divorce? How do you deal with bereavement? It's there. It's contained in your culture. You might not agree with it, but there are certain aspects that will help you and that will guide you. So, my brother Fitzgerald, believe it, just as Sister Angela reiterated, you can trace. But one day I was drinking with one guy from Canada. He was visiting the UK. And then I walked up to this gentleman, and then I said to him, we exchanged pleasantries. And then I said, "What's your name?" He said, "My name is Lom." And I said, Lom. I know Lom in French. It means man or male. I said, "How do you spell this one?" He said, L-U-M. And then they always say to us, we the Africans, that you guys, you speak your mother tongue, you're so embedded, you're so enshrined with your culture. First and foremost, the slave masters changed my name. We can always go back to our culture. You can change your name. It's completely legal. A lot of Black British people are changing their names. A lot of Black Americans or African Americans are changing their names. You can go back to your community. You submit here. We call it the Home Office. I don't know, maybe in America you call it the ICE or your administrative. You can submit the documents. Give the imperialists their names. Take your name back. Your name is your identity. Your name is your culture. My name is Carl. My real name is Carl. Carl Chiel. That's how I was named. But I did a research. I know Carl Lewis is a fantastic runner. But again, Carl was a slave master. Carl was a slave owner. So I cannot be bragging and I'm an African and you call me Carl. Oh, please call me Chiel or call me Pharaoh or give me any other African name. Call me
Kojo.
Call me Okoma. I would like that. It identifies me. So my brother, you can create your own niche culturally, and then you can fit. We Africans, we're very hospitable. And then really, I said to this Canadian guy, no, your name is not Lom, your name is Loom. And probably you're from Bafut, same village as me, same clan, because that's a name from a village.
Wow.
But now the Caucasians, they call it Lom. It's just the same. Sister Angela will understand this. Most Nigerian, and my friend was Ofoma, but Europeans used to call him Ofoma. And then so they've changed our names, and then sometimes we conform, and then we take this their phony pronunciation. Let no one alter your name. If your name is Ofoma or Ijeoma, is Ijeoma. Don't let somebody say Ijeoma. No, Ijeoma is not your name. Your name is Ijeoma. It has to be pronounced in the context of your culture. So conclusively, I would say our culture is that beacon, is very, very powerful. It is that context that will keep the Black family as a unit. Thanks so much for everyone.
Thanks so much.
Do you have a website? Or do you have a
Thanks so
channel or-
much, everyone, for joining. Great discussion today. And yeah, we still having some questions coming up, but unfortunately, we have to address those questions next time. So sorry about that because of the time. I told Pharaoh maybe an hour maximum, but we are almost close to 2 hours now. So we're going to cover your questions next time, please. So stay tuned, and I'll see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time. Take care of yourselves and be your brother and sisters keepers. Bye for now.
Amen.
Good night.